Yes, people, and welcome back to another edition of Spurs Kings TV with your boy Ashmatic. We're going to look at the transfers today. There's a lot to talk about. Obviously, we've been linked with a lot of players, but no one has come. There's a lot of turmoil in the fan base. Not a single ball's been kicked, but everyone's up and down. Some people are happy, some people are sad. I want to get the thoughts of everyone here in the panel. I just want to big up to everyone at home, first of all, watching and giving the support. Big up you guys, man, first of all. And I want to big up to Alpesh already in the chat, man. Evening, where did it go wrong? Spurs at the moment in the transfer window. I don't know, man. I don't know what the plan is, but I'm sure my guests will get into it. So let me just bring them on. And I'm going to bring on someone I haven't seen in a while, and it goes by the name of Jack. How you doing, my broski? You good?
I'm doing well, thank you, Ash. It's good to be back talking things Spurs. It hasn't gone how I've expected it to go so far, but you know, Spurs have always got a trick up their sleeve and got to keep the faith. Some exciting things coming, and I'm looking forward to getting into that tonight.
Cool, bro. We've also got Hotspur TV. Long time no see. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. You?
Yeah, not bad, man. I'm just trying to enjoy the summer a little bit, what I can. And
before the season kicks off.
I'm trying to watch the Olympics, you know. I'm trying to Olympic vibe and watch different sports. Like my dad loves cricket, Formula One. I'm trying to experiment with different sports at the moment, if you know what I mean. But yeah, man, we move, man. Also to making his debut goes by the name of Caleb H. How you doing, my sir? How you doing, my bro? You're looking different. I can't quite hear you at the moment, but we'll get back into it. We'll get back into you, bro. I'm going to start off with the panel, man. I'm going to start off with a question. And the question is, we're linked with Eze and we're also linked with Netto. And I want to know from the panel real quick, before we get into the striker debacle with Solanke and co. I want to know who is the right profile, in your opinion, for Tottenham or for an Ange system, in your opinion? Is it going to be an Eze more or will it be a Netto? And I'll start with you, Haz.
Right.
What's your feeling? Who would you want? Who would you prefer at Spurs? In the comments as well. Who do you guys think here? Eze or Netto? Which one suits Spurs? What do we need more of?
For me, it has to be Eze. For a number of reasons. I mean, Netto's injury record isn't great. So that's what puts me off him. I know Netto is kind of seen as a bit more explosive, but you also have to look at the fact he's playing in a counter-attacking system. So counter-attacking system. So I don't think he would kind of slot in straight away at Tottenham. Eze played in Glaston's system last season. I think that's slightly closer to what Ange plays. I know it's probably not a massive, massively close, but it's still a bit closer than what Wolves are playing. And also, Eze's English. We have this homegrown issue. I just think he's a better option out of the two. If you were to push me to pick one of the two, I'll pick Eze.
Cool. Just on that with Eze and versus Netto, where does Eze fit in? Because Eze, everyone's saying he's an 8. He plays as a midfielder. But currently, we've got quite a lot of midfielders in that position. Now, Ange came out and said that he wants to push Son to the left, his natural position, saying he thinks he's more effective off there. And at Palace, I believe that Eze played in a front three. Correct me if I'm wrong.
He did. Yeah.
Top. Michael Elise on right, and Eberechi Eze on the left. And then I looked at the heat map as well, just to make sure I wasn't going crazy. And I did see Eze pop up in those positions quite a lot. And I feel like also, just to caveat again, if you play Eze, because everyone's saying play Eze in the 8, so he replaces Maddison. I hear it. But in that kind of Glasner role, I felt like he was closer to the goal. And I feel like Spurs in that front three lack the goals. We lack the firepower. If we put Eze further back, does he then do the Maddison role? And then he has to do like the 6th thing where he picks the ball off the fullback, what Maddison was doing. And then he's further back or further away from the goal. Or are we taken away from Eze? What's your feelings on that?
For me, if we're going to sign him, he has to play on the wing. Otherwise, sorry?
So you drop Son?
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm very harsh with this, but I think Son should not be like a guaranteed starter. I don't think any player should be guaranteed. I'm looking at 32. He needs to really be any other club. He'd be a rotational player. So you kind of have to look at the future of that side anyway. So if you buy an Eze, they're gonna, I'll say, fight out. We've got Europe, we've got the 3 cups altogether, plus the Premier League. He's gonna get minutes. I mean, has he been played on the right as well? He can probably play there. I like to see him in the 10 as well. If Maddison's not doing it, I think he might suit that position really well. So for me, it's a simple choice. It has to be Eze if you're going to push me between the 2.
Jack, where do you sit on this situation? Eze, as I said before, if you put Eze on the right-hand side, he's not going to be able to shoot on his left, or he can shoot on his left, but as he is deadly, as he's ambidextrous as a son with both feet, do you say, well, we put him in the 10 and make him do the Maddison role? And again, we've seen Maddison struggle because we've got 2 fullbacks inverting.
Yeah.
How does Eze fit in all of that? Or do you think Neto's a better fit because he can play across the front 3? Where do you sit on this?
I think there's a lot of factors that come into this decision. And for me, Netto and Eze are players that excite me. They are players that I want to see in a Spurs shirt, but it's a shame that we can only get one of them. I think if you're looking at an Ange-specific type of player, then Netto is probably that player who fits Postecoglou's style of football better, in my opinion, because you've already got James Maddison in that 10. I think Eze's played his best football on the left-hand side in that Palace system that we spoke about, kind of where he can slow the play down, but then all of a sudden drop a shoulder and kind of bring other players into the game. I think he's player that for me screams North London, screams Tottenham Hotspur. Like, I just think he's got that bit of stardust that we're missing. But then again, Netto, I think, works in a Postecoglou style of football and would probably be more of a natural transition. I think it's hard for me because we're talking about signing Solanke that I know we're going to get into. But I generally saw Son maybe playing more centrally, because I think we've been seeing him play off the left-hand side. And yeah, that has been his best position. But with Son getting older, I think he's losing that extra yard of pace. And I think that's what he relied on before. But centrally, he's still got this, he's still a fantastic goal scorer. We've seen his conversion rate. So for me, it depends. Do we see Solanke as a priority signing? Because if we do, then it has to be more someone like Netto. If not, are we going to push the boat out for Eze and maybe go for a different type of striker? I think there's a lot of factors that come into this deal. But Eze does excite me. It's just a hard one to answer, Ash. The straight in out. You put me.
I know, bro. I know. I'm sorry. This is the reason why I put the panel up, man. Is I'm not trying to make it easy for you guys, but I just want to ask you, just off the back of that, you see how you said Netto is more of an Ange style player. He's only played like 50 games, I think over 2 to 3 seasons. Yeah. And then isn't that a worry after, Spurs' injury record? We don't have much luck. So maybe putting your eggs in a Netto basket, is that poor recruitment? Is that bad planning from the club as well, that we're going to spend that much money on a player that's like, injury prone?
Exactly. But I think the problem is we're getting to this stage of the window where we need players that are going to excite Tottenham fans. Look, if we're being honest, we've been quite underwhelmed so far. We're talking about really the start of a really exciting Tottenham project. Ange done well to get us into 5th with what he had to work with. But now we need some players that can come into this squad and kind of help us compete regularly for Champions League football. We haven't had that statement signing yet. Yes, Bergvall and Archie Gray are fantastic additions, but if we're saying there are statement signings that can kind of help us push on and really compete with the top clubs that Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, even the likes of Man United are going to become, then that can't be our statement signings. Pedro Neto, for me, very worried with injury prone, but you'd hope his bad luck or fortune with injuries turns around. And because he is that talented, is it worth rolling the dice on him?
Yeah. Caleb, I don't know if you can hear me. I want to bring you in. And if not, I still can't hear your voice. Say something. You might have to log out and log back in, bro. Yeah, like you did last time, because it worked when you did that. Log out and log back in. Maybe try your mobile device. I was going to say, with the whole Eze Netto situation, do you think we've actually had a plan? Is there been a plan in the first place? Or is it like Spurs, just to make a caveat to it, they've got option A, B, C in one area. If, for example, they've looked at the right wing as a problem and he said, all right, cool. Or just the forward line as a problem. And he said, all right, we want wingers that can play across the front line. And we've identified maybe a Chiesa and Eze. And I don't know which order they come in, but I'm assuming that Eze was maybe the #1 target. But then that price that Palace put up was like a spanner in the works, where they said they want 50 million all at once. Do you know what I'm saying? Compared to what, you spread out the payments of a Netto, it's more like, achievable, because then you can go out and get other targets. But do you think, honestly, that with that being said, do you think Spurs are being Spursy and not really getting their shit together? Or do you think it's a thing where you need to wait for your top topics? Because obviously there was a Euros situation. Everyone's like, oh, Euros, we'll wait till Euros is over. We'll wait till, they come back from the holiday, but then they're back from the holiday and it's still nothing. And this feels like a lot of PR. But do you think, would you rather wait for your #1 target, or would you just say, oh, not panic, but go for like B and C, go for option B and C rather than...
The problem is that obviously we don't know what the A, B, C is.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. So, but what worries me the most, Ash, is more Ange's comments before the window and about the window. So before, he said he wanted players in early so he could bed them into the team, which is understandable for any manager. Also, we had the comment about he wanted a centre half, but we haven't been linked with a centre half at all. So I'm like, okay, I thought we were going to go out and try and sign someone at centre back. We had a Calafiori link, but obviously that went a bit cold. There's no other link since then, so it kind of worries me whether that was like what that was. So because Ange, I thought, made some things clear about what he wanted, I felt, and how he wanted to get done. But then he kind of contradicts himself later on now and says, oh, well, we're still looking at certain targets, but we'd rather wait and blah, blah, blah. But then we get linked with Solanke, and Solanke didn't even go to the Euros. So, and I'm like, so who was your top target? Was it Tony? And then something's happened with Tony that we don't know about, and now you're going for Solanke. It's just not very clear. And with Eze, he's got a release clause, so it's not like, it's just so unclear because the club doesn't. And when the manager's told us centre half, but we've not gone after a centre half. So I'm just confused. I'm like, I've always been watching Spurs since I've been born, right? And since Levy's tenure. And even someone like Paul O'Keefe will probably vouch for this. Spurs do very opportunistic stuff. They don't kind of like,
100%.
Very rarely we'll go and say, oh, we want a goalkeeper, unless we're in such necessity of a goalkeeper like we were last summer. We said we'll go for Raya. It didn't work, so we went for Akari because we badly needed a goalkeeper. Like it was nowhere. Like Van der Ven was a similar thing. But with this, because there's no I don't think they look at it as a necessity, because we do have, say, Johnson. I don't rate them. Johnson, Kulu, Solomon, like they're still here. We still have wingers, we have forwards.
Do you think it's the change of guard, and then also it's because it's the change of guard in terms of Paratici to Lange. Their two styles are very different. Whereas Paratici, he's Italian, he's loud, he's tells you everything, blah blah blah, and he's got like 10 deals on spinning plates.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
You know what I'm trying to say? So then it was clear. Like he even came out when Conte was there. He was like, that's their job. They need to come out and speak. It's not my job. Blah blah blah. And like the fans, we knew all of our top targets. Whereas this time around, we're being really tight-lipped about what we're doing, and we don't want anyone to know basically our business until that deal's done, and then we let it out, and then that's how we get our transfers done. We just get it done really quickly. And then on top of it, do you think also, because it's not just us that are moving slow, it's the actual fact that Euro may have had an impact on how, like, as a overall perspective on how every club is acting? Because let's face it, Aston Villa, they lost 2 big players, and so they recouped some money off of that, and they were able to use that money to spend on the
Diaby and Luis.
That makes sense. So if we had sold, let's say, a Richarlison for 60 million early, and we sold another big player like on that level of Luis, I'm saying Douglas Luis, then maybe we could start moving a bit different. But I think also, and just to help you out, thing where like fans were, we ate up the not you personally, but I'm just saying some
I know
the PSR, we're gonna be, we've got 400 million leg room to wiggle with, blah blah blah. you know what I'm saying? It's going to be a monstrous window. No one else can move because they're stuck financially. But then in reality, it was like, no, that wasn't the case. And the way we move, the way Langes, he likes to be secretive. Caleb, I want to bring you in. Can you hear me, Caleb? Can you hear me yet? No, you can't hear me. So,
I was going to say one thing though, because I know you're going to move back to Jack, but another thing that's quite alarming to me is that, and I don't think to say this in like a bad way, but we signed a lot of like very young players, some for big money like Archie Gray, and that's obviously hit the kitty. Like the Archie Gray deal hit the kitty quite hard, I think. And it's like, well, I thought we were going to go out and sign first team players, but we haven't really done that. And the Werner thing, I mean, that was a massive red flag for me, doing that deal for another season, because I don't see how he's going to improve. But I don't know. And then obviously, Ange initially apparently said that the youngsters, he wasn't not too keen on them, but he said like kind of questioning them. And then a few weeks later, apparently he said like they look good. So it makes you question whether he actually wanted this many young players. Like it's just very ambiguous, very like, I don't know whether Ange is completely on board with what we've done.
Yeah, I hear it. Jack, just to bring you in, man, like what are your thoughts in terms of like the actual movement of the window? Do you understand what's going on? Do you think there should be more transparency? Are you frustrated, or are you one of the fans where you're like, you know what, I trust in the boys, they're going to get it done, and we're going to get a few bombers in, and like trust in plan A, like trust in the process, because, you know, who knows, like at the end of the window, we could be laughing. We could have 2 or 3 quality players that kind of improve our starting 11. Where do you sit on it?
So look, I've always been an optimistic Spurs fan. I'm kind of someone, maybe worryingly so, that I believe that we're going to get the business in that we require. And I think in recent years that we finally started to get it right, where we've kind of identified a few problems. And yes, it's not been perfect, but football, the transfer market isn't Football Manager. You can't just click your fingers and sign someone that you want to sign, because it's not always as easy as that. With agents these days, it can be really hard to get the players you want through the door. However, this summer, I really thought we'd identify a few targets early. I know with the Euros around, but Ange has fully come out and said, look, I'm someone who wants a full pre-season with these players to mould these people into the players I want them to be. And we saw Brennan Johnson struggled quite a lot because of signing him late last year. And Ange seems like he's got so much knowledge to give these players. They need time to embed. He needs time to work with these players to make them the players that he wants them to be. He never really signs the full product straight away. I feel like he's got a lot to tell them. And that's what we saw last year. I do think we're going to sign players. I do think we're going to get maybe a couple players across the line, like the likes of a Netto, like a Solanke. I just wish it was earlier, because for me, I know it's hard to do, but you can tell a real difference when a club is identified.
Was it hard to do though, Jack? Could we have not got Solanke in earlier?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Solanke not being at the Euros, and if that was our number 1 signing, that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised that it's not a signing that we did bring in early. But with the Euros, if there's players playing in the Euros, like a Nico Williams, who all of us Spurs fans genuinely believed that we had a chance of getting before the Euros, look what happened. He took the world by storm, probably the best player I've saw playing the Euros, and then he's off to Barcelona. So it's annoying that we can see these players, we're linked with these players, everyone's getting excited, but then we don't get it across the line. It's just... for me, I don't work in the world of transfers. I can't tell you the process, but I know it's more difficult than it seems. I just hope that, like Levy's got a trick up his sleeve, he's working along with Ange, because we've got a manager there that is top quality, and you don't want to disrupt. You want to prove to him that this is the right club for him.
I big up Caleb that had to drop out, man. He said, sorry about my connection issues. I just cannot see a strong enough connection. But he doesn't want to disrupt. But come in next week, man. Don't worry, man. It happens to the best of us. Even me, certain times I'd start glitching. So it's all good, bro. So yeah, you're welcome back next week. But I just want to move on quickly onto midfielders, and I just want to get your guys' thoughts before we talk about the big topic. And we've actually got a mixture of youth at the moment that I think, I'll just talk about me personally. I'm quite excited about the Bergvall player. We haven't seen a lot of him. But from what I've seen him in pre-season, he's a lot stronger on the ball than I thought he was going to be. Normally when you see young players, they get bullied off the ball, they're not quite strong enough. And for me, like Bayern Munich was the real test to see if he could stand up against some of these players. albeit that it wasn't, first team Bayern he came on against, but he still held his own. I seen him getting pressed, holding onto the ball, and still trying to turn. And he wasn't shy; he was always asking for it. And I think the difference between him and Maddison was, for me personally, he was popping up all over the midfield. He was on the left flank, on the right flank, and that's sometimes a little criticism I thought from Maddison. Sometimes I don't see the energy and legs and the physicality from Maddison at times. He gets bullied off the ball and always goes to ground when he gets a little knock, whereas I felt Bergvall was a bit more robust in my opinion. But guys, I want to know what your midfield three is going against Bayern Munich in this friendly, and then looking towards Leicester. What is your midfield three? I'll start with Haz, and then I'll get into you, Jack. What's your midfield three, bro?
So I think it's going to have to be the same as last season. Basuma, Sarr, and Maddison. For a number of reasons. I know there's a lot of excitement behind Bergvall, but I think we need to give it time. With all of them, really. So I think, I don't know if you're going to touch on Bergvall specifically or the youngsters specifically, but I just want to say this at the beginning. So for me, the youngsters, we need to use them, but first we're playing in the cups, or if we're 2-3-0 up in the game, bring them on for the last 20 minutes and just see how they go from there. I don't want Bergvall being thrown in on the first day unless Maddison's got injury and someone else is injured as well, and we have to do it. I'd rather ease them in.
Yeah.
So for me, it's going to have to be the same team. Well, it's going to really be the same team we played last season, but then the same midfield three. It'll be Basuma, Sarr, and Maddison.
Would you expect to see that against Bayern Munich? Maddison starting with Basuma and Sarr, and would you be happy with that midfield three? Does that midfield three cut it for you? That's what I want to know. Is that your midfield three? What's your starting midfield three?
In reality, what we got, I can't pick any other three players really because we haven't signed anyone. But if you were asking me who I really want, I want us to go out and sign a number 6, like the person alluded to on the thing. But the issue with that is because Ange doesn't play with a proper number 6. So the 6 that I would want, like a Makalele type or that sort of ilk, obviously not, but someone that can just sit there with the 2 centre halves.
Defensive midfielder that just has his own zone, doesn't move from that position, and literally just cleans up.
You know how many times we were caught with 2 men back? If we had even one more person there screening the ball, even in front of them too, I think we would concede a lot less because at least they would have an extra person there, right? So we need someone like that, in my opinion. But that is also part of Ange because Ange doesn't really play with a proper 6. So are we going to sign one? I'm not confident we will.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. From what I hear from here, it's more like a
midfielders we were linked with Gallagher.
Yeah,
definitely not a 6.
Yeah.
So and that's why I thought they might go for someone like
Ramsey. And those are kind of like energy buddies. They're more 8s, yeah.
They're not like destroyers.
Box crashers. They're not destroyers. They're not like a Nana types. But yeah, Jack, what is your midfield 3? And talk about, you could talk about the 6 if you want. Do you think we need a 6?
Yeah, no, for me, I've been crying out for a 6. I thought that was a priority position at the start of the year. I've been saying that forever.
Why do you think it is? Why do you think then Ange is not going for the 6? Every fan saying get a 6.
Exactly, it's so interesting to me. And for me, Ange being a tactical mastermind to an extent, you would think there's real good reasoning behind it. The only reason I can think of is that he's got such confidence in Romero maybe stepping out and kind of pushing forward into that sort of 6 role, and then allowing the license of bringing into an extra, like a Bergvall playing alongside a Maddison. Maybe he's really thinking, I want to be full throttle attack and I'm willing to take the risk to not have that traditional number 6. That's my kind of way of thinking. Because for me, Basuma, he's not a natural number 6. I love him. I think he's got so much potential, but I don't think he's the type of old school player, as you alluded to, has about kind of being like a Makalele role who recycles possession and kind of plays that from there. I don't think that's a Basuma. I don't see him just screening. I think Basuma's at his best when he's kind of got the space to he's really good in tight spaces and he can kind of transition defense from attack really quickly. But he's not the kind of player, in my opinion, who's going to stay really disciplined and just sit and allow the other players to have creativity. He wants to be that player himself. Saying that, I'm going to kind of say that he's still going to start for me against Bayern Munich. You've still got to see if he's got that in him. and I would partner him with. I want to see Bergvall. I think I haven't just copied him. I like his hair, but I promise you, I didn't just go for that this weekend. I did have it before, as cool as he is. But he's got to play for me. And I think James Maddison alongside him has got to show his ability. He spoke about how he rises to the occasion. He spoke about how he dreams to be in Champions League matches with Tottenham, and he thinks that's his level. We've seen it for the first 10 games. He was probably one of the best players in the Premier League. But since coming back from his injury, he hasn't shown that level. And I think he's got it in him, but he needs match time. He needs good players around him. So I'd love to see a midfield three of Basuma, Bergvall and Maddison. And I'll be interested to see if he gets overrun, especially against an opposition like Bayern Munich.
It's interesting because no one said Bentancur. And at one point, Bentancur was one of our best midfielders. And I remember when Ange said, before he got injured, he said, I have plans for Bentancur, and meaning him and Basuma. But I also think maybe he's lost his mobility and his ability to get up and down that pitch. I think that's why a lot of Spurs fans have fell out of love with maybe.
I don't think it's just that. I think it's also non-field stuff. I don't think we're allowed to talk about this. The off-field stuff he's done. I just don't think he's going to play.
I don't know, because I just saw like videos of him. I think it was it was yesterday. They showed him on the club Instagram, showing bits of him. So I was like, oh, hang on, maybe there is like.
Obviously, it's not a topic to speak about too much, but I think that's left in the past. I think Son.
I think that's fine.
I think now it's about the football, and I think luckily it seems like Son and Bentancur have still got that relationship, and hopefully it was just a complete misunderstanding. I think the main reason Bentancur won't be playing is just because he's got to build back up his fitness. It's not going to be easy. He's had terrible injuries. We know he's a player that, for me, is got serious levels of stardust, and he's good defensively. He's good going forward. He breaks lines when he plays, but I don't think it's as easy as chucking him straight back in. What do you think, Ash?
Well, we're going to talk about a DM because I think that's the topic at the moment, and you know how I do, man. We're being linked to
your research.
Yeah, the research kid. Richardson, that is the player we've been linked with, and loads of fans are screaming out for a DM. This guy played for Stade Reims in Liga 1. He's 22 years old. He turns 23 in January. He's Morocco international. He's actually playing in Morocco Olympics. He's actually playing in Olympics right now in Paris for Morocco and under 21s team. Plays central midfield, but can play in the defensive midfielder role. Last season, he scored 3 goals, but I was trying to research why he hadn't started more games, because that was, for me, a bit of a question mark I needed to find out, and I'm sure I will find that out. Jack, do you know anything about that? Why he didn't start?
I actually don't, to be honest. I haven't done enough research on this guy. But Ash, I know you're a man that dives into the tactics, so I'm sure you got some things to fill me in on.
Yeah, so 28 games he actually played in total, and in the system that he played in was a 4-4-1-1. Him being the deepest of the midfielders in that system. But yeah, it shows on transfer market. His position in there is a DM, defensive midfielder. His main position last season was a central midfielder. But I seem to think that Morocco is stacked with DMs. Like, they've just got about 2 or 3 DMs that I've seen. I'm like, wow, they like their physical football. But yeah, contract runs out in 2027. I don't know if you can see that. He's roughly 6'4", 6'5". Different depending where you read up, it says different things. But the guy is tall, basically. He's tall. He's like a Pogba. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Left-footed as well. I thought that was interesting. I do think left-footers play slightly different to most other footballers. I don't know if their brain works a little bit different. But there's his heat map. He operates in that right-hand half space predominantly. But yeah, as you can see, there's heat maps all over that kind of central position in the pitch. But yeah, definitely leaning towards the right-hand side of that midfield department. His standout attribute for me in the possessional stats would be his progressive carries, 72 percentile. So that's good. And progressive passes received as well, 66 percentile. So his first touch when he's higher up the pitch is not bad either. So you can receive the ball under pressure. 2 things you want from your sixes. Non-penalty goals for a midfielder is in 59 percentile. Not super impressive, but decent. He's not prolific, but again, if you're looking for a DM, do you want your DM to score many goals? It depends. And system, I've seen McGregor at Celtic score a lot of goals. I don't know how he plays his sixes, slightly different to how maybe we perceive them. But the standout ones for me are blocks, clearances, and an aerial one. Blocks, 91 percentile, clearances, 87 percentile, tackles in the green, interceptions in the green. That means he can read the game, he can read his opponents, he knows how to win. But aerials one, that's really good because of his height. I think that's something that may help us on the set piece issue, where we have conceded some goals from those particular areas. So that's a player that I'm looking at. I'm thinking, oh, maybe we could do this type of player. Again, looking at his goals against maybe Edison, GA is obviously the best. Got Sander Berge, which is linked with Manchester United. We were looking at him as well. I know Lange picked up Sander Berge, so I did look at him, and I do remember when he came on against us at Sheffield United in the FA Cup when we lost 1-0, he made a difference. João Gomez is my guy. James Garner, I know Andrew's a big fan of. I did like the way
Is he the Everton guy?
He's the Everton guy. I remember watching, I think I did a watch along for him, and I was like, oh, that James Garner, he's got good feet. He's kind of doing us over. But in terms of a six, he's not a six, I don't think. But essentially,
no, not really.
Box, he's box to box. And I know Ange likes the legs and that kind of Scott McTominay vibe kind of player. Ugarte, everyone was screaming Ugarte in the chat. Ugarte, kick Ugarte, go Ugarte. Ugarte for me is not necessarily a pure six. I think he's a 6/8, more of an 8, where he's good at pressing high up the pitch. But if you're doing recovery runs, which I believe Bissouma's not really good at recoveries. I think when we lose the ball, it looks like Bissouma's running backwards. But Ugarte for me is similar. When we lose the ball, if he loses the ball, he's not good at that recovery phase. And again, progressive passing, I think Ugarte kind of suffers, like taking it from the fullback, taking it from the centre back. He needs to improve at that part of his game. But it's actually
Edison, Ash, where because we were linked with
Edison, I rate highly. Edison, I rate highly. He's the six I would want. If you're looking for more of a, because I think if you're going to replace Højbjerg, you should get it with experience, in my opinion. And Edison has that.
He's Atalanta in it. Edison and Atalanta. Yeah, he's definitely the guy we should get.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I know there's stiff competition from Liverpool. Other clubs across Europe are looking at him as well. AC Milan have been linked with him, so it's not an easy deal. But I know
if it's a priority signing, Ash, and this is me going back to what I kind of alluded to earlier.
Yeah,
we've been linked with Edison, and we can all see that a 6, in my opinion, should be a priority unless Ange is going to play with 2 ways. Edison, what was it probably going to cost you in the region of 50 to 60 million pounds? We spend that on Brennan Johnson. We're probably going to spend that on Solanke. We're looking at that, spending that on Netto or Eze.
This is it.
This is a priority. He'd be willing to come to Spurs. You've got to fork out these signings and kind of prove to them you are a player that is going to take us to the next level. So for me, I'm like, what is holding us back from doing a deal like that?
I think I would love if we got rid of Lo Celso. Obviously, Højbjerg's gone already. Yeah. And I don't think it should slow down any deals. I think we should be able to get those deals.
This is what I mean. This is where there's a bit of frustration kicking in.
Yeah, that's my frustration as well. I would hope that if we got rid of like a Bentancur, like for example, we thought he wasn't the right fit, he didn't have the legs. I know quality on the ball he has, but in terms of like getting up and down, like we said, he's got an ACL issue, mobility wise. Is he the same player? I don't know. Well, this is the season where we need to find out. I think make or break for Bentancur, definitely. But if we had to make a cutthroat decision and be ruthless and say, look, Bentancur, you got to go, and then we got Edison in, I would not be mad, guys. I would not be mad. But I'm going to carry on.
I think, though, Ash, just quickly, I know we won't spend too much time talking about it because this is all hypothetical. But we've got rid of Lo Celso. We're looking to get rid of Lo Celso. We know his days at Tottenham are numbered. We've got rid of Højbjerg, who's been a good servant for the club. We know he doesn't fit the way we want to play. There is no reason to create more excuses to say we need to get rid of more players. We should be bringing in this type of player, replacing Lo Celso and Højbjerg. For me, this is a sign that needs to be done. Like that profile of player is just screaming out to me that we're missing someone of that caliber.
I agree. I think where Spurs struggle is that we don't move early on certain marks, where if we've made that decision, we've made that planning, we should be going for these type of talents. Do you know what I mean?
But we've seen us, I'm not defending this, by the way. I've seen us in the past wait till another club makes a move and then suddenly we make a move then. So why don't we do it before that happens? I don't know.
Maybe because of the experience of Kulu was devastating when we went for Kulu and we almost got it out. Not Kulu, sorry. Diaz, sorry, yeah, Diaz was horrific. We've seen it happen with Liverpool. They went for Lavia, then they went for Caicedo, and they got gazumped twice.
Willian always stinks.
That's PTSD for that one.
A lot of PTSD. Us Spurs fans, we suffer with PTSD with just
worried about being blindsided.
Do you know what I mean? So I think the club have got also scars that they need to get past, and also high risks. Like every sell, every transfer is a high risk, and so we'll get into that in a bit anyway. But yeah, let's talk about this player. Shots per 90, and again he's a 6. Obviously James Garner's going to be top of that because I feel like he's more box to box. But yeah, it's not bad. But here he is. He's got a couple of goals here. Loses his footing right there in that particular chance. But here he is on the back post. No, not the back post, right in the center, and he hits it top of the roof. Here he is at the end of a chance, finishing a chance there. And again, at the end of something, just tapping it in. Long passing. Good. 70% completion. I forgot to mention his minutes have been, actually I did mention it, is limited. His minutes have been limited. But just to see his completed passes, 70% in long passing, that means he can do long balls over the top. He can switch to play. Something I feel like we're missing in terms of Spurs, the way we play out. And here he is demonstrating that. He's got that kind of diagonal switch of play where he can loft balls right over the top into feet. Pretty accurate actually in terms of long balls, where he finds players and he can help open up the pitch just by doing that, literally by switching that play, picking his head up, finding someone on the flank. And that's what we want. A ball directly into Son, a ball directly into Johnson, just to open up the play really quickly. Here's some of his short passing, not super impressive compared to like an Agate, but in terms of short passing, 83% is not bad at all. It's not bad, even though he's at the bottom of the list. As you can see here, some of his short passing into feet, keeps his ball well. It has a little link play here as well, looking after the ball, linking play with his short passing, integrating there, and someone that can start the attack from deep. So I'm not mad at that. Again, through balls, not massive in his game, but again, he's further behind on the pitch, so that might explain his numbers. Shot creation actions per 90. Don't scream out loud, but again, he is a 6. Here's some of his passing. There's a through ball there, a little dink pass into the box, little fake, and then he passes into the box. Guy should finish there, holds it up, and chops it into a cross. Here's some of his take-ons. He's not a bad take-on. He's obviously, he says his attempts, he doesn't do a lot of it, but again, I think with more game time and given more time on the pitch, this is something that it can improve. So the stats aren't favoring him. But again, if you look at the eye test, which we're going to do, I think he's not bad. Progressive carries, again, Gomez from Wolves are really great, and he's level with him.
Serious player.
First touch as well, alongside Gomez. Again, he's not far behind him. So yeah, as Jack said, serious player. But here we go. Here's the eye test in terms of his ball carrying. He goes little fake, dribbles and comes inside. Beats 3 or 4 players there, holds on to it. Again, carries the ball, beats the guy, dribbles, gets out of danger, flicks the ball over, headers it. First touch, gets under control, starts driving. Little flick there, little cheeky flick. Little carry guy has to bring him down. Little 1-2s there, holding off the player, using his strength, using his body, and he's able to get away. Here's what we want to look at is defensive numbers. Again, not too impressive, but again, I always caveat with he hasn't had that much game time, so it's not going to be super impressive. But in terms of challenges, he's actually gotten past Gomez in actual challenges, in tackles as a percentage piece. So yeah, here he is again, winning that ball back in that defensive area. And again, just being that shield, that recovery run that we've been talking about. There he is getting stuck in the box. Look at that interception with a slide tackle. He's not afraid to get dirty, protects the ball, uses his body, reads the play, wins that tackle. Again, knocks it out of play there. And he's just using his body, uses the outside of his foot just to win that ball back. And again, he's just looking, where's the ball getting played? Where's it getting played? Can I manage it? Wins that ball back there. Again, slide tackle, last ditch tackle there. Wins the ball, good challenge. And it looks decent in that defensive duel, quite physical as well. And he's able to cover the ground just to make those challenges. And that's something slightly different. Aerial duels, really high, 60.7%. I don't know if you guys understand how high that is. That's really high for a midfielder. Just to put into context, you know how strong Tony is in the air. Tony, 50% of his balls he wins.
Oh,
Yeah, so this guy's 60.7, better than Edison. So this is a real beast in the air. I haven't got many clips of it, but yeah, he's good in the air, basically. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, those his minutes. As I said, he's at the bottom of the pile in terms of minutes. He hasn't had that many minutes, but that's something I want to look into on why he hasn't got that many minutes. Has the manager maybe not fancied them, or is it something that I don't know? Is it down to I don't know, if it's a competition, I don't know, is it age, I don't know what the factors are, but that's someone we have looked at, and I think maybe that's why the club are looking at that type of profile, a player that can carry the ball, can dribble with it, but it's quite physical. But I'm with you guys. I want someone a bit more experienced, even though he looks decent. That's where I sit on this.
we need like another Wanyama.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, a Wanyama to complement, because that would free up for me Basuma, because Basuma would be able to do the Dembele stuff, what I thought he was meant to be doing. But I want to talk about the striker situation, because that's why we're here. I was stalling for time, but yeah, I want to get straight into it now, and I want to know your thoughts on the whole Solanke deal. And I've got a feeling, I don't know. Let's see how it goes, man. What's your thoughts on the whole Solanke situation versus Tony?
Solanke versus Tony. So I'm in the Solanke camp, by the way.
I thought so. I thought you were screaming Solanke from early. I thought like you said Solanke. Like, I know you're the Kulu whisperer.
No,
but
for me, it's also because like, look, Solanke and Tony for me are like the same, almost the same sort of level in terms of quality. The problem is with both of them. But I'll tell you what, I'm leaning more towards Solanke's compared to Tony. But the problem is they both only have one season where they scored 20 plus goals or close to that. So with either of them, you're going to take a risk. Now, I just prefer Solanke because he's more dynamic, and he doesn't have that risk with the gambling. Yeah. With Tony,
that's a massive one.
Yeah, so I just think he's a better choice. Is he the striker?
Some people will say that if you look at Tony, he's got that arrogance, and but like Mourinho says, too many nice guys. We need to be
I know. Yeah,
we need to be bastards. And I feel like with Tony there, he's got that arrogance. If he misses a chance, again, box office always says it, he'll bang another one. Do you know what I mean? But like, do you think there's any truth to saying that in terms of what advantages would you have over Tony if you're going for Solanke? What does Solanke do better than a Tony in your opinion? And get involved, Tony or Solanke, let me know.
Okay, so Tony's more of a target man for me. Like, we could play it long and stuff, but I think that's not really how we play, unfortunately. So I think Solanke's more of, where Son and Richarlison, if you look at the kind of goals we scored, the way, the action of the run and the movement, like I said, he's not exactly a striker I would sign. I know which striker I would sign if I had unlimited funds, but
who's that?
Huh?
Who's that?
Isak.
Okay.
Yeah. If I'd pick but I think Solanke at least I've seen him make those runs, because obviously he's played in the Premier League, so I've seen quite a lot of him. He's made those runs. Of course, they're both a risk though. Like, they only have one good 20 goal season or close to the 20 goal season. So whoever you're going to buy is going to be a risk. But I think the problem is, what market are we shopping in? Because we're not in the Champions League, and even when we are, I don't think we ever really use it. And apparently we need to buy a homegrown player. So I think with Tony, my theory with that is, we might end up with Solanke and Tony, knowing Tottenham, but I think if they sell Richarlison, they might move for Tony quite late, because he's got a year left on his contract. And by then he'll have like 10 months or something, or 9 months left and on deadline day. So they might move for him then.
It's interesting. People are talking about someone said Solanke, go for a number 6 instead of Solanke, go for a Solanke in January. Or some people saying, who would you rather have on a penalty? But I don't know if Spurs win that much penalties. But then if we had a Tony, would Tony win us more penalties? I don't really.
Wouldn't Son be taking the penalties anyway?
Yeah, well, yeah, Tony would take the penalties, I would assume. But
would you think he'd take it off Son?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm going to jump in on this one, for me, I think Ivan Toney is just a serious player. He has that arrogance where he's like, right, I'm the man. Like, he genuinely backs himself against anyone. I genuinely believe that Ivan Toney has got the mindset where he should be starting for any team, which is a massive positive. You looked at Cole Palmer when he was signed for Chelsea for £40 million. People were like, he's young, it's going to take him time, but he was like, nah. I've got no time here. I'm coming here and I'm coming here to take over. I think Ivan Toney's that sort of player that believes that he has the ability to transform a team, and that does excite me. If you asked me at the start of the window who would I prefer, Toney or Solanke, if I'm being honest, I definitely would have said Ivan Toney. I just think he's such a good finisher. He's someone that believes in himself, and that's the kind of type of profile player that I would like to see at Tottenham. I think Solanke is a fantastic striker. I study sports journalism. I study in Bournemouth, so I know a lot of Bournemouth fans that absolutely adore Solanke, and they're like, "You're mad. If you don't want this player on board, what are you doing?" Like, he is genuinely, they say he's a one-season wonder, but he scored 73 goals in 4 seasons. When he was in the Championship, everyone was raving about Mitrovic, but he only scored 2 less goals than Mitrovic. He was playing in a system under Gary O'Neill when he only scored 6 goals that season. That didn't suit him at all. But it's no secret when Iriola brought in and brought that attacking style of football that he absolutely thrived. And that's what Bournemouth fans are saying to me. If Postecoglou carries on playing the attacking style of football that we all know he will, there's no reason why he couldn't be a 20+ a season goal a season striker. I also think he's willing to work hard for the club. I think he's going to press from the front. I think he's willing to do the dirty work, and he's got a bit of everything to his game. I just don't think he's the type of player that jumps off the page straight away. I think when we saw 65 million for Solanke, when we're seeing people like Guy Carrez being linked with us, people like Osimhen potentially being on the market, it's kind of a bit underwhelming. But if the more you look into it, being kind of that homegrown player, somebody who could really excel in a Tottenham shirt, Solanke does fit the mould. So maybe he is the player to be brought in. But for me, I've kind of got that soft spot for Toney just because I know he's got the arrogance to kind of turn up to a team and really believe that he's the main man.
But another thing with Toney I will raise is, I don't know this because I don't know how Ange thinks, but he mentioned about players' personalities and attitudes.
Yes.
Do you think him and Toney would get on?
I think you raise a great point, mate, and that's why I'm still kind of a big advocate for potentially bringing Solanke in. But I agree with what you're saying. I think Toney's been linked with Arsenal a lot. He's been linked with Liverpool, and I think he come out on social media and was like Brentford, like laughing, like taking them.
I remember that, yeah.
Because he's got that arrogance, and that's why it's a positive and a negative. So yes, he may have a bit of character clash. Maybe he's come out and spoke about saying he wants personalities that play for the badge. Mickey van der Ven, Ange alluded to, saying we weren't in the Champions League, but he wanted to play for Toney. Maybe Toney would think he deserves better. And that's why maybe players like Solanke would be better to us, because they want to play. But you'd like to think as well, you've got to go for the best player. You can't just go for, he loves Tottenham, so let's bring him in. Toney's going to score us 30 goals a season, and he's got that in him.
But what I'll say as a caveat to that is that we had the whole Spence situation, and Spence seems to have turned it around after having this supposed bad attitude. Like, I don't know, I wasn't there, but so maybe he'll come in and just be fine. Yeah.
So let's quickly look at both of them in isolation. So I don't like to do emotion or guesswork. I want to see the numbers, and I want to have a proper look and see what's actually going on there before I make an opinion of it. So those were the games, the teams he played for. He's played all over: Championship, League 2, League 1, Sunday League, you name it. He's done it. He's come from nothing. He came from the roads, man. He played in a 3-5-2 at Brentford. He's also played in a 3-4-3. And last season he changed again and he played in a 4-3-3. So he is adaptable to what Thomas Frank was asking him. He did have a fall off, in my opinion. When he came to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I thought he should have punished us. He should have taken advantage of some of the chances he had. He didn't. But we know what Toney's capable of, 100%. He's a top player. Goals wise, if we're looking at 31 goals in 2021 when he was in the Championship, 10 assists, that's 41 GA. That was his best return. It's crazy. 41 GA, that's mad. But I know it's at a lower level in Championship. His best Premier League one was 2022-2023 with 20 goals and 4 assists. So that's 24 GA. And then if we look also to last season, he got the 4 goals when he came back and 2 assists. That's 6 goals, contributions. And I believe he had 14 big chances where he could have put them away. So not the most clinical finishers, but I would say he is an accurate finisher. Goals scored against the teams that, you know, you think are big, teams that, you know, might give you worries. So he scored, it says here, against Aston Villa of that 2022-2023 season, Unai Emery's first season with them. So they weren't quite the force that they were the season just gone. But nonetheless, he scored against them. So that's why I'm looking at that. He scored against Newcastle. Newcastle got to top 4 that season. So I'd say that was a big goal for him. Brighton were punching as well in that season. And he scored against Arsenal. That was the other big team I saw. Obviously, he scored Fulham, Southampton, but I'm not really looking at those teams in that season. So, you know, when you look at your striker, you want to look at what big teams do they score against. So I know he scored against Arsenal. I can't remember if that was a penalty, though. That's the only thing, because I do know Tony did score a lot of penalties. He operates in that left-hand half space quite a bit, but as you can see, he dominates that box as well. But yeah,
I don't think there's many better strikers aerially than Ivan Toney.
That's his standout weapon. He is a unit in the air. That's his major thing, and it shows that. Well, you can't see it there, but aerial one. If his corner's defending it, he's going to be the man to win the header. If it's balls to win for the keeper doing direct, he's going to be the target man to help push your team up push your team up the pitch.
Yeah.
Tackles, again, aggressive interceptions. That just shows his level of IQ. 97 percentile for a striker. That is highly underrated for someone that's at the top end of the pitch. So I don't think enough people scream about that. Progressive passes received, again, 65 percentile, really good. Progressive passing, I think that's where he excels as well. Other than his heading, I like to see him as a player that can bring other players into the team as well, a bit like what Kane did. As I said before, 20 goals. Comparing it to you know, Victor Gyökeres and Jimenez of their best seasons, and then comparing it to Solanke, with just 1 goal difference between the two. 1 more assist than him in the Premier League, and then Richarlison got 11 last season with 4 assists. So I like to compare the 3 to see where we're at, and obviously Jonathan David not far behind with 23 in the GA as well.
Just to raise another question to you, Haz and Ash. I think Spurs last year, we were always trying to score the perfect goal almost. I think we scored a lot of our best goals when kind of Johnson was getting in behind, and he was always looking for that first-time ball across the box. We've seen it a lot in pre-season. And a lot of Solanke's goals, if you've actually watched his highlights, he's a very good first-time finisher. He's very good at that kind of flick around and kind of into the bottom corner. And do you think that's a reason why we're looking at him being a striker? Because we've seen the way we want to play. We've seen when Johnson gets in those positions that he can be really dangerous because of his raw athleticism, even though he's maybe not the most technical player. But Son and Johnson this year, in my opinion, are going to look to get to the byline and cut the ball back a lot. We're kind of looking to score these goals with a striker, with a first-time finish. And maybe that's why Solanke is the type of player that we're looking to bring in.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the reason. It says here in expected goals that Solanke slightly edges him, and maybe that might be the reason why in that box he might be more of a threat, might be more.
That was my line of thinking as well, comparing the two, because we don't really play like long balls much at all. So
Tony is a long ball target man. That's what you're getting with Tony.
Or scraps. Well, we saw what happened in the Euros, didn't we? When Tony come on,
the goal
to Harry Kane, and he got the winner that sent us through.
Yeah, he's a physical player, gets in your face. And so here it shows in the Championship, he had different styles of finishing, though. So this is something that most people won't see. It goes a bit unnoticed. He pulls off the player there, and then he finishes it, volleys it in the bottom corner. Like, very good IQ there, getting on the end of things. Good finish inside the box. And look at this. Boom. You don't really see that in the Prem. You see more of this type of finish. Poacher gets on the end of it. So he's a poacher kind of striker, in my opinion. Here he is again on that penalty spot where you expect him. finishes that goal
That's
first.
where our goals will come this year. I think we're going to rely a lot on the wingers. I think that's kind of creating the perfect goal. I don't see us kind of shooting from 30, 40 yards. I think we're going to be looking to get those high XG type of goals, because that's when Tottenham were at their best this year, kind of hoping Maddison shows that creativity, Bergvall, and kind of waiting for the opportunity rather than just playing what we did under Conte, like balls into the box. It's going to be those.
He would suit perfectly in the Conte system.
He would suit exactly.
In a Conte system, mwah. And as it says here, dribbling. Solanke obviously is just under, well, not just under. Gokares kills him, to be fair, but he's a better dribbler than Gimenez and Tony and David and Richarlison. So, but yeah, Tony. Saying that, Tony is not that bad in terms of like actually being on the ball. There he is, stepping on the ball, holding the ball up, and puts it through the guy's legs. There he is again, cuts through, steps on it, holds up the play, puts it through the guy's legs. It's quite technical. It doesn't look like it, but
yeah,
likes to get the ball and win the ball for his team on like win a foul.
He's back to goal, Tony. I think that is his biggest strength.
Yeah, 100%. Through balls, again, playmaking wise, creativity. You're gonna get that. You're not gonna get anything better than him, like in terms of like bringing other players in. Key passes, Solanke is a little bit better. So maybe in the build up, in terms of linking play, the pass before the assist, you see Solanke is involved in that a bit more. But in terms of assist, as I said before, Tony edges it in terms of assist, and it shows it here. It's able to get little flick-ons, passes in behind, look at the control, then first time ball in, first time pass in there again, almost like Kane there, you know what I'm saying, when he gets those balls in. And I think that's why a lot of people like him. In terms of short passing though, and I talked about link play, you see Solanke is more involved and completes more passes than maybe a Tony. So he's not the best in terms of like short and medium passes. But when it comes to long passing, obviously that's where you see Tony stand out. In terms of received balls received into the players in attacking position, Solanke again, he edges that in that area. But here's Solanke again, holds it up, treads on it, wins a free kick, little back heel flick. There we go, through ball first time, plays it wide, knows what's around him, passes it into the channels. As I said before, long passes. Tony's got that. He completes the most of them. And here he is, good first time ball over the top into the channel. Again, another ball over the top, great ball. And again, diagonal right across from Tony. Again, look, switch of play, boom, first time. Aerial duels, as I said, that's where he comes alive. He's a unit. He's able to do that little assist there with his head, a little cushion header again into that dangerous area, wins the ball high up when the keeper does a long kick. So sometimes when we're playing out from the back, we're not able to play out from the back. He's able to do the long ball, diving header into the goal, top corner trying to go for there, tackles into interceptions, as I said before, challenges. Solanke is actually better, it says there. But again, Tony's good. Tony's really good at pressing, really good at winning the ball for his team, works really hard. So all this attitude about gambling, he's got the right attitude, it's rubbish. It's rubbish. Look at that. He's working hard for the team. And yeah, man, you got to respect it, man. I want to bring on Deji. Oh, go on.
Well done, my bro.
Nice to meet you to join us. I just want to get your thoughts real quick on the striker debate. I've got a feeling I know what you said. Are you a Tony man or a Solanke? And give me some context.
Yeah, I think personally, I am more a Tony. I just think that Tony has more. There's a je ne sais quoi. You know, Tony's got me speaking French these days, to be honest with you. You know, I watched the game that made me feel like Tony could be the real deal was the game when Brentford played Man United and they were so unlucky. They dominated the game at home from start to finish. And Ivan Toney was a handful. Now, the measure for me of a decent striker is very old school and it's very simple. How have these strikers performed against my club? And when Ivan Toney played against Spurs, he didn't do too bad, to be honest. He ruffled up a few feathers at the back there, and I thought, okay, that's not bad. When Bournemouth came to Spurs, Romero and Van der Ven had Solanke in their pocket, or in like Polly Pocket. He could not do nothing. And if you're looking to playing for a top six, You need someone who has a bit about him. Ivan Toney is almost Drogba-esque in the sense people don't like playing against him. Do you know what I mean? He's got that bit of a fear factor. Solanke is a nice boy. He's very easy on the eye. He's probably very easy on the ball, to be honest with you. But has he got enough grit? Has he got enough tools in the box to do a job? Can he make the leap to Spurs? I think he's the perfect player for a Crystal Palace, for a Bournemouth. But I don't think he's got the minerals to make the step from my club. Whereas Ivan Toney, there's just stuff in his game where I think, like Toney, I think can get 15 plus goals at Spurs. I'm not sure Solanke can. And so for me, bringing in Solanke is a bit underwhelming. And it's actually starting to piss me off, to be honest, because I was under the impression we were going to bring in what Postecoglou needed to kick on. I'm not being funny, but it looks like we were blagged. And I don't like feeling like I've been blagged, to be honest with you. So yeah, I think Toney would be my preferred option over Solanke all day long.
Bro, I hear it. And I'm going to talk about Solanke now and see if I can change your mind. I don't want you to change your mind. Yeah. I want to stick with Toney. Toney's your guy. But I'm just going to see if we can make an argument on Solanke, because some people prefer Solanke. Solanke, here he is. 26, but he turns 27 in September or in August. So he's turning 27 real soon. 65 million is the quotation. Played at Chelsea under 18s, under 21s. He's an academy boy. Betis, he had a loan transfer there. Went back to Chelsea, then moved on to Liverpool for a free transfer. We were going to have to pay 20% to if we do get that signing over the dime. Then went to Bournemouth for 21.20 million. So that's his transfer market. Plays in the 4-2-3-1, and he plays as a lone striker compared to Toney, who has played in a 2. But and as I said before, Toney has played in a 3 as well. Here's some of his shots where he scores his goals. You see 2 outside the box, but majority, some are in the 6-yard box. So you're looking at that Ange ball, as Jack was saying before, balls fired across the 6-yard box. Solanke will be there to eat them up. Or if Son's throwing them across into that 6-yard box, he's there to get on the end of them again. Heat map, again, really red in that 6-yard box. So that's where he gets most of his success. But you can see he's involved in the transition. As you can see, his heat map's pretty spread out. His standout attribute for me would be his successful take-ons and his touches in the penalty area. But apparently, in terms of pressing from the front, he's second to Son in terms of pressing. Aerial duels 1. Toney's obviously top, but he's not too far behind. He's not too far behind Toney. Here he is winning a header. This is footage from the Championship. And there he is again, winning that header, pushing that header right across the box in the opposite direction of the keeper. So he is an aerial threat, guys. He can score those headers, get into the end of things, and look, a little short header there. So he has got
Sorry
that.
to ask, Ash. Sorry before you go on.
Yeah.
I note respectfully that's all Championship headers, and I'm not being funny. If I take my hat off,
scored headers in the Prem though.
I can, if I take my hat off, I can score headers in the Championship. Do you know what I mean? So
I mean, if I do Prem, I'll get copyrighted. So that's the only way I can do it. But these numbers are from the Prem. So just to put, yeah. But thanks for putting it out there, just because someone else will say that as well. But yeah, in terms of goal threat, again, 20 goals for Toney, as I said before, 19 for Solanke. But for non-penalty goals, have I got non-penalty goals? Yes, I do. Oh, non-penalty XG, sorry, that's what I got. Solanke is obviously better. He scored 17 non-penalty goals, whereas Ivan Toney scored 13 non-penalty goals. And again, shots, Solanke shoots more than a Toney, 106 compared to Toney's 87. Shots on target, not too far dissimilar. Toney's edging it in terms of shots on targets as a percentage, but here is a link up shots, first time roll, shots again, hits the crossbar on that one, gets out of his feet, bottom corner, again on the end of something, hits it there, gets it out of his feet, and then again on the end of a shot there, opens his body up near post finish, as you can see there, in the back of the net. Gets on the end of things. So I'm looking at the goals, and it does remind me of a bit of an Ange. Here's a little transition one when he gets on the end of things, but here it is. Ange ball, full effect, across the box, and he scores. Again, gets into the box, fires across the keeper, bottom corner. There he is, gets out of his feet, beats the keeper near post. Keeper should be doing better there, but nonetheless, good finish. And again, goes around the keeper, finishes it. First time finish there, good volley, gets out of his feet, gets a deflection there, scores a goal. Again, near post finish, that's an Ange goal. You can see that all day. And those are the type of finishes I'm talking about. Good link-up play here, gets on the end of things here, 1-2, and then puts it across the goalkeeper, finishes again, gets the ball, fires it bottom corner. So the mobility already, you can see, is slightly different to an Ivan Toney, mobility-wise. He can run across the box, but then he can also get on the end of things and finish. So he's got that poacher ability of him. Good improvisation of the finish there as well in the 6-yard box. Little back flick and hits it first time. First time finish again. Again, that was an Ange ball finish. Nice link-up play. Again, gets out his feet, scores a goal. And a lot of these goals I'm showing are in that kind of that box, right in that box area. Again, on the end of things, finishing there, finishing that move again on the end of it. Good finishing all over. Little 1-2, 1-2. And that's what I'm talking about, is little link plays. Quite clever. It's got good IQ in terms of linking the play. Key passes, as I said before, higher than Toney and Jonathan David. And again, in terms of short passes completed, again, he beats Toney. Medium passes beats Toney. And here's an example of his link play. Little through ball there. Holds the ball up well. Passes it. Gets an assist. Holds the ball up well again. Puts the ball into the box. Slows it down. Then finds the pass. And finds a ball into a striker's pathway. Holds up the ball well again. So loads of people are saying, can he hold a play up though? Can he hold a play up? He can. Clearly can. Gets a little ball there. Gets the ball out of his feet. Again, the little striker, where he holds up the ball up and his height, his physicality there, and he's able to lay off a person, and then they get the goal, a shot there. Again, hold up play, first time touch, beats the player, and he's able to feed the player there. Again, dribbles and carries. Obviously, he's more of a dribbler than Toney, just behind Gyökeres and progressive carries, and he shows it here. First time, half turn, gets it, slows it down, then speeds it up, beats his man on the wing, gets the ball out of his feet, slightly more mobile here. Good change of feet, good quick feet as well, interchanging left foot, right foot, down the channels again, running at players, trying to scare them, gets down the line, beats 2 players, holds onto it, good physicality, chops onto his left foot on the outside, both feet showing there, good interchange in the half turn again. Look, goes back on himself, then goes forward, again, carries that ball into that dangerous area, and you can see his ball carrying abilities are clear to see. And he's also showed this in the Premier League, so I should throw a link in here to show his ball carrying for the Premier League. Defensive attributes, again, as I said before, tackles percentage slightly higher than a Toney, so he'll be able to press from the front. I just said Toney, in terms of Toney, he's exceptional in terms of interceptions. But yeah, that was my thoughts on Solanke. He's not, I would say, the name and who he is as underwhelming, but in terms of suitability, in terms of what he can do in the system, I'm not mad at it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not mad at it. But I do get it, because I think the expectation was that we were going to get an Ivan Toney, and then out of nowhere, Solanke comes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't want to do all the talking. I'm not, I've got my learned friends on the panel tonight as well, Jack and Hotspur. And, the one thing my dad taught me growing up, you know what I mean? And, and I was really brought up really well, is that half bread is better than no bread. So would I take Solanke over our current situation right now is we have no number 9? Of course, I'll take a Solanke. But I would rather starve sometimes as well, to be honest with you.
You hate it that much, yeah? Oh, Jack, Jack. Oh, do you think?
Right, Jack.
Do you think Solanke is a better number 9 in profile than Heung-min Son?
No,
it's a loaded question. I don't know is the answer. I think Solanke has the potential to be a kind of the striker that we need. I think Son is such a good finisher that it's hard to say. I think maybe Son at his best is better off the left. I just worry that he's lost that yard of pace where he's such a good finisher that maybe it'd be better off bringing in a better, like a world-class winger to play alongside Son centrally. I just feel like Solanke, I do agree with Deji. I don't know if he brings me that real excitement. When I saw the Fabrizio Romano exclusive, I can't tell you, I jumped up, put my fists in the air and thought, we're changing. I'll be lying if I said that. But at the same time, look, I do trust Ange. I think he's a fantastic manager. And if he really believes that Solanke is that man, I've already said on the stream already, I spoke to lots of Bournemouth fans that say, like, you are mad. Solanke is a serious player. Maybe I should be excited about it. I think it's hard. Being a Spurs fan, we want this trophy. We want to be competing with the best, but we're not quite attracting these players that really can make it a game-changing signing. Like an Asim Hen for me would really be like, wow, we're changing. But I think he can be a good player. But do I think he can be someone that can take us to the next level? I haven't seen enough yet. But look, I'm willing to be proven wrong. I'd go for Tony.
Hey, what do you think? Solanke, is it a land signing or an Ange signing?
Was you fist bumping the Has when you saw Fabrizio Romano's exclusive? Was you like, now we're talking?
No, it's more the fact that for me, with Solanke and Tony, as I said, there's not that much difference for me. It's not like I think either striker will take us to like winning the league, which Mr. Ange spoke about 12 months ago. So to me, whatever our target will be crashing out all the cups and finishing fourth as normal. So for me, Solanke probably does enough, but Tony probably does enough to do that. So either one is basically the same to me, but Solanke means more like a preference in terms of the system. And also, just as a player, I just prefer faster players and just the way he plays. It's more like a personal preference.
Do you think he's slow though? Do you think Solanke's slow?
No, I'm saying I think Solanke's got like a bit faster than Tony.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Like that's just a preference. But I don't think either striker's a sure thing. If you bring them in, he's going to bang in like 20 goals a season. Like the history shows different. The only Solanke advantage it also has is obviously he got his last season. Tony had that bit where he was suspended for X number of months. He came back in and he wasn't as great as he was before. I don't think that's just my opinion. So for me, I'm still with Team Solanke, but it's only for like a very marginal thing. It's not even like a massive thing.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a hard one because Tony in the Championship did numbers, but then so did Solanke. And then when he got to when he came to the Prem, Tony had a standout season. If you deep it, like one standout season, he hasn't had like 2 or 3 standout seasons.
But neither Solanke really.
Solanke, so you can have the argument for both. And then also Gyökeres, everyone's like me. I want Gyökeres. I look at him, I'm like, right, I want that brother. But again, you could argue the same thing. Gyökeres, Championship, 22, 24 goals. Solanke scored more than him. But then obviously in a lower league, in the Portuguese leagues, not at the Prem, is it? He's banging out 40 plus goals. Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean,
yeah, go on. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like where Solanke, at least he did it in Prem. So I can see different sides of the argument. Like I can see some people say, he's a late bloomer because Tony's 2 years older than him. So yeah. But then at the same time with Tony, you get him. If you get him, then how many years have you got with Tony compared to Solanke?
But I think Tony would be the cheaper deal. I know it sounds weird.
That's what I think. That's why I was confused. That's why I was like, wouldn't you throw a regular on, a light regular on, give him a quick regular?
Yeah, that's sure. Yeah.
And then supplement that with some, installment payments. Levy likes to break it up 10 million this season and 10 million next season, and you know what I mean. So I thought it would have been more of a Levy deal. But do you think then maybe? Going back to Deji, do you think maybe then Tony rejected, man? Do you think Tony rejected? He said, "No, I want Man United." Like, I don't understand it.
It's possible. I think the thing with Tony is probably, Postecoglou doesn't like egos.
Yeah.
When he talks about people respecting the club and this and that, he's basically talking about if you're not ready to put your head down and do some hard work. I think there was a little footage of Postecoglou when we were out in Korea where the fans are literally serenading Maddison. And you can see he's absolutely pissed off, and rightly so. He's like, what is this? This is a joke. We're out here, and then the camera goes at him, and then he gives a smile. And I respect him for that. He's not into the fanfare. He just wants to put his head down, work hard, and get results. All this kind of help people falling over themselves because they've seen Michael Jackson. He's not into any of that crap. And I think Tony has got the ego. I mean, anyone that can tell his club during the season that he's out the door is someone you should be bloody afraid of. If he can do it to Brentford, he could do it at Spurs. Man United coming for him or an Arsenal, and he would do the same dirtiness to us. We shouldn't be so big to think that he wouldn't do the same thing to us. The only concern I do have about these strikers, sorry, just briefly, is I just feel like we lack balance.
Do you mean across the whole team or just the front line?
For me, for Solanke and Tony, they need Saka and Martinelli on form, or Salah and Mane on form, for them to just do a mad, to get the goals. Timo Werner.
Yeah. Let's not talk about him, please.
He's not giving you nothing. Brennan Johnson, crikey. And even if, I know we're looking at Eze and Netto, but let's look at what we currently have. What we currently have is not enough to feed either Tony or Solanke. So I'm perplexed as to how. I mean, yes, if they create the same, if Maddison's on form and they create the same chances they did at Luton, Tony probably bags, Solanke probably bags where Richarlison missed. But that's about it. It is looking very, very suspicious on the wings for our club. And I just can't see the sense in it personally. Sorry, I'm waffling.
No, you're not.
You're right, Deji, you're right. I wanted a whole new front line this summer.
Yeah, we wanted, because for me, they're saying, like we said it earlier in the show, it's either Netto or Eze. But me personally, I want both, and I expected both. And I thought that's what we were going to do. And then Werner turned up. But I also want goals from midfield too. I'm not going to lie to you. I want goals from midfield. I thought that was the one area where we were lacking. I thought Maddison would score more. I thought he underperformed. And he came from Leicester. He was banging goals in midfield for Leicester. Do you know what I'm saying? Whether it was 15 goals or the season before where he got 13 to 14, 11 goals the season before. He got goals at Leicester. He comes to Spurs and then he gets 4 or 5. Like, he down tools. Then you see Richarlison at Everton. He was, for me, in my opinion, I thought he was better at Everton than he's playing here at Tottenham. That's how I see it. Do you know what I mean? I think he's down tools since he's come to Spurs. Then I look at Brennan Johnson. As much as I don't like him, I thought he was more of a goal threat at Nottingham Forest. I'll be real. At Nottingham Forest.
He was against Arsenal last season.
Yeah, he did. So, but when he comes to Tottenham, again, I feel like he's down tools. So my worry is you buy Solanke, and then Solanke is at his level, is Bournemouth his level, where he comes to Spurs and then all of a sudden. But just before you guys jump in, we were linked. Well, we're not linked. We're linked with an energetic midfielder, and I showed a young kid before. But there's a guy that's out on the market who previously worked under Ange, and I think this is a guy we should go for all day long. He can get on the blower right away. Matt O'Reilly, for me, on the right-hand side is attacking 8. You can see his numbers there. 37 goals. Mad. About 37 games, 31 goals.
So West Ham are in for him, aren't they? Have they put in a bid for him?
West Ham are in for him, but Brighton are in for him as well. That's where he's been most effective on that right-hand side. You can see the hot red metrics, his passing metrics are there as well. This is in the SPL. That's his statistical map. Again, I'm showing his heat map where he was first. In many touches in the box, he was first, dribbling first, and that's across some of the top 5 leagues in Europe. Matt O'Reilly playing in them 4-3-3. As I said, he knows the sign, he knows the system. He's worked under Ange. He's 22. There's his heat map once again. Standout attributes: progressive passes received, 93 percentile. Are you crazy? Shot creation actions, 91 percentile. Look at the green. It's just mad. Tackles, interceptions, blocks. Because for me, Ange wants a player. Not just a 6 where he just sits there and you can only do a specialized thing. He wants all of his players to be able to drop in the 6th position, pick up the ball of the centre back, full back, and carry it. And he wants all his players to defend. Go on. Ask a question. Go on.
Because obviously, you know, when it comes to this football game and breaking down players, I look at you as the oracle. Ain't that what Bergvall has been brought in to do?
Yes, but I feel like Bergvall, as he's young, they wasn't expecting him to like pop off this season so quickly. I think in the friendly, he's caught quite a few people off guard. And I think the idea was to blood him in slowly. And maybe it might be the reason why we haven't gone for certain targets. And maybe why we haven't gone ham for Conor Gallagher, or the Ramsey deal broke down. We ain't heard nothing from Ramsey. But like this guy, for me, he operates on the right-hand side. Bergvall would operate on the left-hand side. Do you know what I'm saying? And this guy understands the system, what it takes to be an Ange midfielder, someone that can do all three. Like, do you know what I'm saying? 31 goals, as I said before, 18 goals, 13 assists, 31 goals in total, 109 shots on that as well. But here's some of his goals. First time, gets out of his feet, gets on the end of things, headers, arriving as a box crasher on his right foot, puts in the back of the net. Again, in that right area, left foot, weaker foot finish, comes across, finishes it off there, gets on the end of it, headers into the box. He's just in the area where he's going to be complete threat, and he's not afraid to finish. And this is my critique against Sarr. Why is he not crashing the box more often and getting into goal scoring opportunities? Because I think in a system like this, Ange you score, but we score more. And I think that's Ange ball. Literally, you score, we score more. Long balls, in terms of his long ball accuracy, 65% of his long balls are completed. 57% of his chip balls are completed. Passes in the own half, 90%. Like, so when we're trying to build up from the back, he's not losing it. 90%. Key passes per game, 2.5. At least 2 passes, he's doing a key pass. Big chances created, 14 for his teammates. So that is just crazy numbers. But yeah, here he is again, long balls into the areas.
I wanted to ask another question. Where was he before he came to Celtic, or was he always?
He was at MK Dons, where Ali was. Simple. Say no more. Balls over the top, boom, into feet. Crosses again, 241. He smashes all the players that he's up against. So you know he's got good crossing ability. Here he is on his weaker foot, crossing the ball into the box, firing the ball into like weaker foot crosses. It's crazy. Creativity, he's got it in abundance. Link up play there, lays it off, through ball there. Again, good pass into space. He's just got the minerals. He's got the tools, I think, that suits the Ange system, and has played in the Ange system, and has played in English league football. And he's Danish as well. So I don't know, Ellie, if you can hear this, you might have to change your name to Riley. Do you know what I'm saying? Ellie, Queen.
I think he looks like a serious player, but for me, it's just not a priority. I think, like you've already alluded to, Bergvall could kind of play in that sort of system. I feel like we've already seen with Levy, he's not going to like do that football manager overhaul where we're going to get loads of different players. So I feel like we can kind of work with our eights, but we need a winger, we need a striker. We haven't even spoke about potentially needing a cover on the left-hand side, whether that be a centre-half or left-back. And I'm just worried about not going to be bringing in the priority signings where we've seen before. When we've needed a centre-half, we haven't brought in a centre-half. We decided to go for the cheaper option. So as good as Matt O'Reilly is, I think we can kind of go with what we've got for now, and then bring that sort of player in January potentially.
I don't think he's going to be around in January. Brighton are properly in for him, as Deji said. West Ham are in for him. I just think Ange ball is we score more than you do, because people have often criticised the tactics that we've been left open, especially when you saw that Bayern Munich game. How many times down the left hand side or the right they were getting in behind? And I think Ange sacrifices the amount of chances he concedes, because he thinks, if I get enough quality players up top, we can outscore, we can outwork them. You heard him, man for man. Why are we not going man for man? He wants energy.
You don't think Sarr is a player? You don't.
He does, but Sarr, he doesn't give you that box threat, that goal threat. And I think that's why I was saying to you, yes, we need, and I agree with you guys, the wingers, they are priority. You put a Netto there and you recycle him with a Johnson, because I don't think Netto, you should play him 90 minutes. I think that was a problem with Wolves. He's such an important player for Wolves that they were rushing him back. And that's why he ruptured his other hamstring, because they rushed him back too quickly. You know what I'm saying?
I think Matt O'Reilly starts for Spurs though next year. If we sign him, do you think he starts?
Ahead of Sarr, yeah, I think he does. Because I think
Sarr even starts in our best midfield three.
This is what we want. We want competition, no? We want players where Matt O'Reilly, he's more of a goal threat. Maybe you have to bring on Sarr. The game's a bit tight. Or we need to shore things up, bring Sarr on then. Do you know what I'm saying? We need that like an edge.
100% agree with the
but yeah, in my starting midfield we spoke about earlier, I would it depends. Like I'm like Haz. I think we start with the old boys, the old guards, which is Basuma in the 6. You start with the side that gives you the legs, and then you've got Maddison. But like within last 20 minutes, when it hits the 65-minute mark, the 70th minute mark, you start to bring your Bergvals on or your other midfielders on, because that's when they start to get tired, and we want to keep that energy high up and just cause teams just headaches. Because remember, under Poch, we used to be relentless. We used to press. Yeah. And that's what it reminds me of. But the difference between Poch and Ange, Poch had Son, he had Ericsson, he had Kane, he had Dele Alli. Do you know what I'm saying? He
also had a really, as in the style we played, at least had like a holding player in Wanyama or Dyer in that second season.
He did. I think
it was more like solid, like Toby and Yannis clear everything up.
I think the only difference is, like, I don't agree with you. I think that defensive solidity is missing. I think that's where Ange is super gun ho. I think the reason why he inverts the two fullbacks is he's saying, look, loads of teams that are possession based, they like to build up centrally. Do you know what I'm saying? And he's compacting that pitch where you have to play down the sides, and the only way to score is go down the sides and cross the ball into the box.
But then one long ball, and we got done that last season.
Yeah, I just think in that system, the midfield, they need to be pressing a bit more aggressive. The press starts from the front, hence why we're looking at, like, your Tony, someone that's super aggressive, winning that ball high up. Son and whoever's on the right wing, not far behind, because I think Johnson had a real fitness issue in terms of pressing. He was give him an Asperpol quick. I think he was really struggling. So I think, like, if you've got a Netto, or even like my guy Eze is better at pressing than Johnson. Do you know what I'm saying? His pressing numbers are really high. I think that's where we were losing a lot of our battles. And then the second line of defense, which was the midfield behind that, which was the inverted fullbacks, they were meant to win the balls high up. The midfield three, they're meant to win the balls back. And then Mickey van der Ven is meant to be the last line of defense. And then the other last line of defense is Vicario, because he plays a sweeper keeper, if that makes sense. But even certain times we made Romero push high up, which was even more crazy, because you see Romero scoring goals against Arsenal playing as a striker certain times. You're like, wow, what's going on? Who's playing like that? But then it's down to the game intelligence of the players. They need to know, like, if Romero's pushing up, I need to fill in that role. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's down to the team as a unit. Can they defend better? Because I feel like if one person doesn't do their job, there's a hole in that team, and the whole thing capitulates, and then we look silly. We look so vulnerable, and it was like,
Ash, I'm gonna have to bounce, bro. But it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Love,
good to see you, Az. Back on the scene that I've been busy with Wimbledon, a couple other sports media bits. But look, Tottenham are back now. I want to be back more, so always feel free to give me a text. Boys, it's been a pleasure. Catch me on Spurs Related, and have a good evening, guys. Enjoy the game,
man. Make sure you follow Jack, guys, on Spurs Related, man. Big up for coming on, man. Make sure you do that, guys. But yeah, man, I mean, that's how I see it personally. I just think if the fullbacks aren't winning those balls high up in that inverted role, and that midfield, whoever's in that midfield, because we play with 5 up the top, and it's the 3 in the midfield, and then it's the 2. If the 3 aren't pressing and they're not covering the channels, whoever's in that 3 in front of the 2, that's when we're exposed, because the 3 aren't doing their job. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's certain levels of the team, they're not defending properly. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's why Ange's losing his mind. You're not going for man for man. Me personally, I would prefer a 3-2 rather than a 2-3, if that makes sense. I would prefer one of the fullbacks joining the drop. But I can't see Porro being a third centre back. No. And I can't really see I could see Udogie being a third centre back at times, to be fair.
And then that's why I argue to bring a 6th, so at least a 6 would drop. But
yeah, but then that 6 needs to be super fast as well for that recovery pace. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you're playing a 6 and they're sitting between Van der Ven and Romero, they're still going to need to have elite speed to get back when they like spring that attack down the channels. They're going to have to be super fast.
But they don't have to be in the attack, do they?
I'm saying in a 3-2. So the 3, like, they're not in the attack. So the centre back, the 3 in the back, the defensive midfield would join the Mickey van der Ven and Romero in the middle. So they become a back 3. Does that make sense? And then there's 2 midfielders in front of them.
Yeah.
The defensive midfielder in that 3, they still have to be rapid. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. They still need legs. Otherwise, like you still get torn apart. You see with Liverpool, they do the back three. Man City, they play with 4 bloody centre backs. Ake's a centre back. Akanji's a centre back. Carl Walker can play as centre back. Stones is a centre back. They play super pragmatic. Do you know what I'm saying?
And they still have possession-based football though as well. So.
They still have possession-based football. The only way you get through City is when Carl Walker pushes up and they turn to a 3, and then people
leaves a bit of space.
Yeah, exactly. But everyone talks about Rodri, how super 6 he is. He's the best 6 ever. But if you deep it, they invert a fullback with Rodri to help him out. So when he does bomb up the pitch, there's another man covering there. That's why they invert their fullback. Or sometimes they make Stones or Kanji play as a 6, and they kind of build. So it's never like, we need like a Rodri. No, you still need help, my guy. You know,
then isn't the problem the system then?
I think the system can be tweaked, and I think the system just needs just that one, as I said, that one fullback either inverting or maybe the DM dropping. But the way he plays it, I feel like he tells I honestly feel like he's telling this, push up.
Oh, just go. Just go.
I don't think it's all Basuma saying
no. I agree with you, actually. I've seen us play. And also in the Newcastle game where we lost 4-0, I mean, it was literally Van der Merwe left by himself against Isak. There's only going to be one result that game. So, like, we've been caught playing this way. So I don't understand why it doesn't change it.
Yeah, I know this, Mike. I mean, what do you think, Deji, about the openness of Spurs at the moment? Do you think that's something we can address?
I think the way your explanation of it is probably very spot on. I think we can close it, but unfortunately, Postecoglou is also a avid Shakespearean fan, and again, and what he does is it's better to have loved than lost than to have never loved at all, and that is our football, unfortunately. You could see that even in the pre-season in the K-League, bloody conceding 3 goals. And to be honest with you, as much as I love our club and I shake my bum violently for our club, it is cause for concern. I can see us conceding bags of goals again this season. We've just not addressed it, and we do need. The problem is to play our system. It's so intricate, and if he has the right players, it's awesome. But we don't have the right players. He hasn't brought everyone in. So for me, if you don't have all of the right players, then we need a 6, someone who's more disciplined than Basuma, who can, almost like a Partey type or N'Golo Kante, who is just a destroyer. Break up play, get the ball straight into our midfield, get us back attacking. We don't have that. Basuma is too suspectish, too lazy, and too busy thinking about Louis Vuitton and the picture. We can trust him to play that role. So it is concerning. I'm worried because when I look at the balance of our team, it's not good enough. It really isn't good enough, to be honest with you. I joke about, and I think Tottenham have the tools to finish in the top 3. As it stands, we could be finishing 8th or 9th unless some major changes or Postecoglou does the right tweaks that we can all see, even if we were Ray Charles or Stevie Wonder. Yeah,
I think also as well, because we've got rid of Højbjerg. I feel like if we were to get a different player of a profile, that someone that can control the game, slow it down at times. I think Bergvall, this is why I'm such a big fan of Bergvall, because I think he is that kind of profile where he can kind of put the foot on the ball, slow it down at times, drop a shoulder, and then find a cute pass. Do you know what I mean? I think Bergvall has got that, but obviously it's too much pressure for an 18-year-old to come and bring that, and that's the reason why I've said, you know what, I wouldn't mind him as a right Saturday, where I've obviously showed Matt O'Reilly. If Maddison's on the left, he's on the right, and then Basuma's at the 6, just to help Basuma out at times. Because I've seen Bergvall pick it off the centre back, being pressed by Bayern Munich, and still holding to the ball. I remember when Andrew was at the the Euros. He loved Fabian Ruiz, which tells me he likes technical players. So Spurs I think the way he wants to play, he likes different profiles. One is like high energy, high legs, like a Matt O'Reilly, which I just showed. But one might be a different profile where they're able to get on the ball, positionally, they're a little bit deeper. They can step on it, slow it down, wait for a player to come to you, and then pass the ball. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like a different profile and allows Basuma to play high up the pitch. Or I feel like with Basuma, sometimes he doesn't start the game fast. He needs to get into the rhythm, if that makes sense. But where he switches off, like Deji was saying, that's a massive problem because in the 6, everything goes through you. Yeah. And at times, I've seen them being pressed and they say, look, I know Basuma wants to dribble with it. Let's put 2 or 3 men on him. And that's where we struggle.
Crowd him out, yeah.
Happened with Maddison. I've seen Maddison drop in the 6 role, pick the ball off the fullback, and then lose the ball on the edge of the box. It happened also to Bentancur. And I think the problem is with these Spurs players, Maddison, Bentancur, even Sarr sometimes, we're in those deeper areas. We want to ball carry or we want to dribble. Not every day dribble at the back. Sometimes mix it up. Do a short pass. Get me. Do a little 1-2 just to trick the opposition. Because I think like they did videos. Like I think Gary O'Neill will sit down, watch a video on us and think, oh yes,
that's how they beat us against Wolves.
They like to dribble from or Brighton. Sit down. Yeah. Oh, they like to dribble in those areas. Okay, we're gonna wait. Soon as press them then. That's the trigger. Do you understand? And they need to teach them in the culture role. Listen, sometimes when you're in the area, just keep it simple.
Just drop it off.
But it just mixes. It throws them off. It's like Vicario doesn't always go short. And he goes not long, but he meets.
Yeah, diagonal, innit?
He goes diagonal. Do you know what I'm saying? That will stop the press from happening, and Vicario wouldn't lose the ball because that ball into Jed Spence was horrible, and everyone's like, "Oh, Jed Spence, he's not that guy." But Vicario, what are you doing? For me, you got to make decisions quicker, and that needs to be coached off the pitch to say, "Look, Vicario, when we do this, all right, do that. You know, play it into the fullback, go down the channels. If you lose it in the channels, it's not as bad as if you lose it in the middle." And then it's not such a big chance that you're conceded, in my opinion. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, guys, I wanted to end on that. But last point before I go, wrap it up. I want it to be a short show. Never is. But if there's a player we could build around, who would that player be?
That's currently in the squad or that we could bring in?
Let me say you could bring in. I wouldn't say current in the squad.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question, actually.
We could bring in.
It would have to be our striker, obviously, whoever we bring in. Let's say, for argument's sake, Solanke. If we can build a system that favors Solanke, then what we could have is our own version of Ollie Watkins. I'm not saying Solanke can't kick on and do a great job. I just didn't see enough from him. That's not to say he can't turn into be a beast of a striker, but we're going to have to build around him. And to do that, I could see Solanke thriving in a Spurs team that had Netto and Eze on the wings.
Yeah, 100%.
They will do a lot of the lifting, do a lot of pulling and distracting. I can't see a Solanke performing with Timo Werner on the left and Brennan Johnson on the right, or Kulusevski on the right. It's a disaster made in heaven. So for me, I would want, if we're going to get Solanke, is Bergvall, what I've seen, Bergvall, Madders, and Bentancur or Basuma, is that the midfield 3 that's going to help them? Are they going to play in a way that's going to favour Solanke? And I think, the beginning of last season, before Madders got injured, we were opening up defences. I can't lie to you, I haven't seen that since. I haven't seen us open up defence where we're going to bang goals, and that's concerning. Even pre-season, it's not been great, and the quality of team has been crap. The first time we played an half-decent team, which was the C team of Bayern Munich, we got absolutely slapped up. So it's very concerning stuff. But if we could just bring in an Eto'o, and if Tottenham could surprise us and bring in Eto'o.
I say Eto'o's baggage.
Eto'o up front. Mate, then I would be very excited, because then you see Madders will get creative again. Madders kept looking to the left, seeing Timo Werner, and said, "Bloody hell, I better go to the right." And we don't want that with our players on the pitch.
I think just to add on and piggyback off that, I just think if you've got a Netto, And you have to, like I said before, you can't play him 90 minutes. You've got to take him off 60 minutes because he's just very explosive. He has to be managed. I think you have him on the wing and he beats 2 or 3 men. All of a sudden, teams are thinking, all right, we need to like double up on him. Yeah. That frees up Maddison. Yeah. Equally, if you've got an Eze, I think Eze, the way he dribbles, like he's so like unpredictable and like you can't predict which way he's gonna go. That's a problem for a team. That's gonna free up a Son. Do you know what I'm saying? Son's gonna be able to run in behind, or your striker is gonna be able to link play. Just that 1 or 2 players that, and I think as well, I think Netto is the best winger. I think he's one of the best wingers in the league.
I think so.
Just behind like yeah. In terms of like technical ability, in terms of like dribbling, like his explosiveness is so quick, but he's got the quick feet with it, and his brain upstairs is so quick, and he can play on the right wing, the left wing, and a false 9. I just think he definitely the difference. You could put anyone in that number 9 and he would score. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You could put Werner in a 9 and have Netto out there if he was to stay fit and score. Because all you got to do is actually Werner's a bit too far, but you know what I'm trying to say, innit? Yeah. Like you put anyone up top and Netto's just going to be feeding you. Do you know what I'm saying? And I looked at the league's best dribblers. The best, I think it was between Man City and Wolves, and the reason why is because they've got Netto, in my opinion. But yeah, what's your thoughts, Has? Like I jumped in, sorry, bro.
I mean, it's clear the front line needs a massive overhaul. So I'm with you guys to sign a whole new front line.
Yeah.
We need like a top striker. We need top wingers, because I'm with Deji, man. Like if we see Werner going down that wing, man, I'm not confident at all. I didn't even want him to sign in for another year. And Johnson, I've never been a fan of Johnson, so I was even not happy when we signed him. So yeah, but we just need, especially with this gung ho football, the front line is the most important thing. I know we've alluded to the 6 before, but we have to fix that front line. If we don't do anything with that or anything decent with that, there's gonna be problems.
It depends what your I think like the problem with Ange, for me, quickly just to finish up, problem with Ange, I don't think he managed the expectations of the fans.
No, he didn't manage them
well, in my opinion. If he was like, you know, obviously you want to be ambitious as a manager, but the fact he was like, I want to challenge for the title and I want to get those players in early, everyone was like, all right, let's dream a little bit, because, you know, we're going to get these players in and we're going to back the manager. Do you know what I'm saying? And then when, like, before the Euros never happened, we never got anyone in early. We're like, oh, hang on a second, nothing's happening before the Euros. Then we were told the Euros, waiting for the Euros. Euros finish, and then nothing happened. And then he came out and then he kind of changed his stance on it all. Like, oh, we have to be a bit patient.
Because you know, if you look up the table, right, Villa finished above us. They've done so much business. Obviously, Arsenal was a Calafiori's done now, isn't it?
Yeah,
they've done business.
Yeah.
But we, who are so far behind this top team we're supposed to be next season, have just signed youngsters already and got Werner, who couldn't hit Ballon d'Or for another year.
Yeah. I mean, that's my only thing. Like, I'm an Ange fan, but I feel like, and I think that's the reason why the fan base is slightly split in terms of.
Ash, this is why I'm like against him, because like if he came out and said last season, Ash, in 2-3 years we want to be challenging for the league or something.
Yeah, if he said
I'd be like, 3 years, I'd be like, work in progress. I'm like, that's fine, that's fair enough. Like, we'll give you time. But then he said in 12 months. He said
like, premature. Like, you know what? To be fair, look, to caveat,
yeah.
Be real. Like, in the first 10 games, we were challenging. Let's be real. The first 10 games, we were challenging. And there's nothing we can say about it. First 10 games, we were doing it. We were challenging it. So maybe he's looking at that and he's thinking, by the time second season comes in, yeah, of course I'm going to be cooking. It's only because my squad wasn't thick enough. But my issue again is I don't think the squad's thick enough as it stands right now, because
no way.
About 11 man, but we've replaced it with a couple youngsters so far. Let's be real. No one's really come in. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sounding mad. Right?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think if we brought in those 3 players, we've got Richarlison, Kulusevski, you know, as squad players. We actually don't have a bad squad.
Yeah.
But if we're looking to start with what we've got right now, then it's a disgrace, to be honest. It's pretty rubbish. And look, I'm like Ange Postecoglou. Ash, there's no point playing football. A lot of Spurs fans disagree with me with my views about the cups.
Yeah, we know we'd argue in the chats about this.
Yeah. For me, Carabao Cup, I'll be there and I'll look out for all of you guys in the stadium, but you can just catch me by the burger van, to be honest with you. And the same thing for the FA Cup. I want to win the big trophies. I want to win it now, and I think he has that sense. And you can do it. You can leapfrog this kind of prescribed process and do the unthinkable, win the big trophy and change Spurs' destiny.
I believe it, but I hear it.
But we need the players. And for me, I'm not being funny, but last season we were able to see Postecoglou's frailties. We can see it with our eyes. I even talk about the Gooners as well, and I almost think Gooners, they just need someone alongside the Basmati. And they
didn't actually say hopefully. I just cleared this up with you already. Sorry, I'm talking to someone in the chat.
Yeah. No.
At least said in 12 months' time, I want to be in the title race.
Yeah. However, I'm happy. The one thing I will say is maybe these young lads are the ones that are going to take us to the promised land. And
how many of those young ones are going to start? Because apparently, like your Donnellys and your Lancashires that have been playing well, they might go on loan, bro. So we might not even see all them Donnellys like the Vine and them man have come on. And we're like, bro, the young G's. Hey, you need to start playing them because they're playing better than the seniors. I'm seeing, was it Niall John? He's
Niall John's going. I heard, Niall
John is going, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm seeing like if Solanke comes and Richie don't want to go. I know he's been linked to.
I think we would be stupid to even if Solanke comes, we need Richie, because if Solanke gets injured, then what? Or if Richie can also play in the left.
You're saying the young G's, so you're saying technically, would you not prefer Lancashire? Would you?
I don't mind Lancashire. I don't mind Mikey Moore. I just don't want to see Timo Werner or Manor Solomon out on the left, and I don't want to see Brennan Johnson out on the right.
Too much pressure though for like more Mikey Moore saying.
No, it's not. Actually, there's something about being young and the rest of it.
Yeah.
Look at Jamil Lamau. Look at Adam Walton. There's something. Look at Mainu. There's something about the one thing I will say, and it would be stupid of Postecoglou to do that. I actually think the young guns can play his system better than the old guard. We've seen it pre-season, and we saw it against Bayern. Put the young ones on, and they'll do a job.
Young ones always come on second half, and the teams aren't the same. Does that make sense? So against Hearts B team, QPR B team, even Bayern Munich, like it did look better. But again, there was like 10 changes, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? So. Like, I agree with you though. They did look more fluid. Like I was like, raw, but that's gonna naturally be because they've been playing in that. In
what I'll say to that though, and he's got a point. They probably play with less fear because they're just they're 18, nothing to lose for them. Getting game time's like a bonus for them. So if they come on in a game with 20 minutes left, you might see something special. You just don't know.
I hear it. You know what? Equally, look, I caveat both points because. I don't know if I believe it, but they're trying to say like, they're tired. I can't believe I'm saying it. They're tired and they need a week off basically because they've been doing double sessions. They've had a lot of preseason games and against Bayern Munich when the league starts, forget Bayern Munich, but when the league starts against Leicester, they're going to have enough rest fresh to start, and their minds will be.
It's going to be like puffing and puffing after one game.
Time will tell, man.
We lack rhythm, man. We just lack rhythm.
Yeah,
we just lack it, man. We just lack it. And the thing is, he likes Timo Werner. He's a madman. He is a madman. Look, the answer for Spurs is simple. Solanke and Netto or Solanke and Eze is not enough. We need the three of them. Bring the three of them in, or bring us a Van der Ven out on the left. Someone that we've never seen, we've never heard of, who surprises us all. Something of that ilk. But Timo Werner and Manor Solomon, the fact that they're still there, we can't be serious.
Solomon, for me, we need to be ruthless and just get rid of him. We got him for nothing, so therefore just get rid of him.
Get rid of Skippy, Because if you're talking about bringing in Matt O'Reilly, who's going in the midfield? We've got Bentancur still. We've got Pape Sarr. There's too many, man. Get them out. Get them out real quick. And then boom.
Yeah, no, you're right. Too many man. Yeah, for real.
You better know, innit?
Yeah, trust me. Oh, yeah, guys, I'm going to finish on there, man. We could talk about Spurs forever, man. Big up the chat as well. But just to remind you guys, please make sure you like, share, subscribe.
100%.
Just to help out the channel. This is what we do in YouTube. I don't really know. Like, this is what I'm told to say. Like, Marlon's behind me, really, and he's
with the puppet like this.
If you don't say it, Ash, you're going to be fined.
Guys, do your job, man. Don't be tight like Levy, man. You know what I'm saying? We need to get these signings over the line. We need to get these likes over.
We've got 2 weeks and we kick off, and we've got not one first-team player.
Well, you ain't letting it go. You said you got more to vent. What it is, man?
You know what? I was on the show for like 10 minutes before, and then I went off it.
Yeah.
Like before I went on, and then they were talking about signings, and I was sitting there like, where are they?
Yeah, no, but it's facts though. We haven't signed anyone till now. All now, I've been doing transfer shows, and right now it's August. What, the 5th, the 6th,
6th,
the 6th. Sorry, oof. Like 9 days, 10 days.
I think you have to register them like the Friday before, right? Or is it, what day is it before? The Friday or the Thursday before?
What, before the last day of the window or before the?
No. To have them registered for a match, say like the first game. I think Thursday or Wednesday, a certain day of the week. I think before.
So I don't know. Emerson Rowe, I don't know. Apparently, that's really close.
That's gone.
So I don't know. Do we get a bomber? No, it's not really a bomber, but do we get a bomber Clark? Maybe in the next, I don't know, 48 hours, because the men are saying, right, they got to thin out the squad before one comes in. So I don't know. Maybe
we're not working hard enough to fill out the squad. There's plenty of players. Skippy, Solomon, Werner. They need to get out of my.
Werner ain't going, unfortunately.
Ben Davis as well. What a legend. We love him, and if I see him on the street, I'll happily take a selfie with him. But that's about it, to be honest. I need him out as well. I just need some faces. I look at Newcastle, the business. I mean, they're bringing in Mark Gee. They don't even need him. That's what we should be bringing in, competition for places, because we learned last season, people talk about we ain't got cover at
injuries.
Well, we do, actually. If we're doing this fluid lineup. If your doggy pulls his leg, stick Van der Ven out on the left, have Mark Gee centre back, as the left centre back. You know that Draguzin, I never want to see him at left centre back ever again in my life. But as cover for Romero, Draguzin is there to do a job. Pedro Porro, and I'm delighted to see that Jed Spence has been given a sniff, because I've been saying it all along. I don't know why Conte didn't give him a chance. I think Jed Spence could actually do a job on the right-hand side in terms of cover if he just bulks up and he just gets a bit more footballing IQ. Midfield, we need a 6. Basuma's just not that guy. Pape Sarr is just not that guy. We just got 8s. Just bloody 8s.
See his 8s, boy. That's all I can see. Look, if like I said earlier in the stream, you missed it because we looked at a defensive midfielder, youngster in the French league. But I want Gomez. I want João Gomes from Wolves. For me, that's the guy that's going to be biting at heels. You know what I'm saying? That kind of person, that workhorse, physical, and then also like he can carry the ball up the pitch. You saw what he did to us in both games. In fact, home and away, he mashed us up. So I would like a player like him to jump in. And if not, why not push out the boat for an Ederson? Ederson's got the height as well, physicality. He's done it in those leagues. I would go for him. And he does tick the box for Ange in terms of like, can he do a bit of everything? Yeah, he can. You know what I'm saying? He can do a bit of everything. You know what I mean? But that's just me, innit? Scott M says Jed Spence was awful, got cooked.
But he was playing on the left-hand side. I mean, he's playing out of position. It's just like when people say Emerson Royale's rubbish. I actually think Emerson Royale was a utility player. probably one of the most versatile players in our squad. And it's not his fault that when he got put on the left-hand side against Mo Salah, Postecoglou still expected him to do the inverted.
That was Andrew's fault.
Yeah, the simple thing is to say, man mark Salah, job done. Punch him, kick him, push him into the stands. Just don't let him have any space. How are you expecting Emerson Royale on the wrong side of the road, expecting also to play the inverted role and mark Mo Salah at the same time?
What worries me about Andrew with that period of time last season is that he didn't just move Van der Ven to left back and put
that was mad. That's mad to me to this day. To this day,
you know why?
To this day,
I know why that happened. So for me, I used to be a football manager, albeit grassroots. You have an idea in mind. He never thought Van der Ven could play left back. That's the reason why he brought in Ben Davies.
But then you say that, Deji. I've seen him playing left back for Holland for loads of times.
Yeah, but in his head, he didn't think it. But then he had no choice but to do it, saw that it worked. And now I think this season, that's why I said last season's test and learn. Now I'm expecting, say Udogie's not fit for whatever reason, Van der Ven should be our first port of call at left back. If he
banged the goal as well. He banged the goal at left back.
Huh?
Remember, he scored a goal when he was at left back.
Yeah, that bang.
But if he goes, if Udogie gets injured or is unavailable for whatever reason, and his first port of call is to bring in Ben Davies at left back, I promise you, the next show we have, I will eat my hand.
Yeah.
All right.
Honestly, because that would be stupid.
Yeah.
Lo Celso must go. Let's not waste this brother's time. Reguilon, I can't. When I looked at the pre-season and the players that I thought we had left that are still at our club, it's a bloody disgrace. Get rid of them.
Yeah, it should be like
means on the chopper. I don't care.
You say Ridokulu, yeah?
Yeah, for me, he's 50-50 right now. I don't want to see him playing.
How do you feel about that? He said,
I might hit my head against.
What do you mean? I don't even rate Kulu that highly. So I think it's only going to work if he does it in the middle. If he doesn't do it in the middle, he needs to go.
Wow.
Because he can't play on the wing in this system. He's too slow. Like the way he carries himself on the right hand side, it just doesn't work. He slows down our play, our breaks. You know, so it's going to work.
I don't know about you, Haz and Ash, but I don't know any player that trains pretty much every day that can't use their other leg. He can't use his bloody right leg. It's the most perplexing.
You know what's mad about it?
Give me a week on my left leg, I'll be a bloody monster.
Yeah, for real. These men are training every day. Like, you know what's mad though? He actually scored a banger on that right foot against Sheffield United. And I was there to witness it. I said,
yeah, that was scenes, isn't it?
That was mad. He can do it, but he just doesn't. I don't know what he just hesitates.
He was playing for the middle that day. Well, eventually he wasn't.
Yeah, they moved him out because Johnson come on to the right. Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson went to the right. He put Kulusevski in the middle with Maddison, and I don't know who was playing.
Richarlison scored, innit? Richarlison
header, and it was a header. Was equaliser? Yeah,
equaliser. But the way he shifted the ball into his right foot, and
it was nice.
It was instinctive, and it was like, all right, cool. Let's see more of this. But for whatever reason, he's too sometime-ish. That's what it is.
Yeah,
I think with Kulu, he overthinks, and I think that's the reason why he doesn't do things quicker. But the closer he is to the goal, or the higher up he is the pitch, I think the better. The further he is, it's like decision making. He just takes too long to make up his mind. Do you know what I'm saying? And he's technically good. He's got the physicality. Obviously, the pace isn't. He's not slow, but he looks mad slow. But it's just I think we could possibly, if we were to get rid of Okulu, and cool.
What I don't get is that Napoli interested in Kulu. Yeah, why don't we try and get Kvaratskhelia?
I don't think Kvaratskhelia will come to Spurs personally. That's just me. I don't know.
I'm saying, why don't we try if they want him? I mean, at least ask.
I know everyone says do this asking thing and try him, but I think with Spurs, I think they're the team where they don't want to be rejected. They think what's not be rejected. Yeah, they see we look at them. No, you're not quite in our league, you know. I don't I get it. We should be aiming for those type of players.
I'm not saying if we tried and we didn't, and he said no, that's fair enough. I'm not going to sit and be like, oh, it's Levy's fault because the player doesn't want to come. But it's like we don't even try to do these deals. Like we just were like,
no, because like I said at the start, who knows that we might have spoken to Tony and Tony might have rejected us, but it just hasn't come.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that didn't happen. I'm just like, we can only speculate, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it would be nice if we went for a Killer Scalia, someone that with that ilk, or even like a Zubamende as a 6.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But again, I don't know if they're going to turn around. Even Alvarez. So, for example, Alvarez. Everyone's like, "Oh, we should get Alvarez."
He's gone. I think he's gone Atletico now for 80 million.
Yeah. People are like, "Why don't we even try for him, brother? You think you're going to come from Man City, where you won everything, to come out of the Champions League, to come play Europa football for Ange?"
It's like Kane going. It's like Kane going to West Ham. It's never going to happen.
Let's be real here, cuz like, what are we doing, isn't it? Like, I get the sentiment, like, why can't we try for these players? But
tell him, do you want to break from winning trophies for a few years?
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like some players, like younger players, I get it. Like your Doués, we tried to do, but we moved a little bit slow, and then the price went from 30 million to 60. Just dropped. Whoop! You know what I'm saying? Bayern, PSG came in. They're like, yeah, nah, we're getting for it, bro. Like, little man, take a seat. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But I don't know. Like, Doué was one player I thought we could possibly get, and I was excited.
I thought he was someone we were going to get as well.
Yeah, I thought, that now it looks like it's a pipe dream. Do you know what I mean? But again, like that's what I'm saying. There's certain players Spurs can go for and can get. Eze, I do understand the whole hold up with the whole 50 mil, innit? Like they just don't want to pay that much.
We very rarely put like that much money up front for a player. So
this is it.
I don't think we've ever done it. I don't think we've ever done that.
I want Eze bad. I think, to be honest, if I don't
I know you do because I watch your streams and you're like, yeah, Eze.
Listen, if I don't get Eze, I'm not happy. I'll put it out. I'm letting you know. The Windows know it's not a good window for me if we don't get Eze. I'll just leave it at that, bro. Well, have you not got any other final words before I end the show? Anything else to say? Because I don't think there's any bombers.
No, not at the moment.
No. The last thing I'll say is, go on.
I'm good. No, I'm good.
Yeah, no. The last thing I'll say is, if my head was in the clouds and like you were saying, we should just go for players, I'll go for Fabian Ruiz because Ange said he likes him. He was on the IT.
He's actually a reasonable player to go for because apparently I was reading Arsenal going for him for like a loan with a view to permanent or something for 30 million or 35 million.
Yeah, he's the one that could play that kind of.
And Ange really likes him from what you told me. I didn't see any of the English coverage because I was in Cyprus for most of the Euros. So I was watching it on like.
He got excited for him and Netto. When he saw Netto come on, he's like, "Oh, Netto!" Oh. Like, he couldn't stop in his seat. Like he was, "Oh, that Netto!" Oh. I was like, "Oh, he likes Netto."
He obviously likes Netto then. Yeah,
he loves Netto. Netto's and signing. But yeah, Fabian Ruiz would be a different profile to what we have in
he came across as more of like a. Obviously not the same level yet. Like Modric used to play for us, sort of player. That's what I thought.
Yeah, like he's technical, more of a technical. I call it a La Pausa. I call it someone that can get the ball and they don't rush it. They wait, then they play the pass.
Look for the right.
Look for the right pass. They can look around and then they could do it from deep, or they could do it and they open up the low blocks. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the type of player, I would want for us. But yeah, guys, again, as I said before earlier, please make sure, don't be stingy, don't be tight. Like, share, and subscribe. Otherwise, Marlon will kill me. We do have a Rivals show. You say that you're on Rivals. What are you telling me?
Tomorrow, I should be. I should be. I should be about. Who are we chopping up tomorrow, first and foremost?
I know we've got a couple. We've got Arsenal, man. We've got Arsenal. We've got. Obviously, we've got Newcastle. Newcastle talking wicked. Liverpool there, obviously. A couple surprises as well, man. But yeah, man. Yeah, guys, tune in for Rivals.
Let's chop them up.
Yeah? Cool, man. Guys.
It's good to meet you, man.
Yeah, good to meet you finally. I know because I watched some of your stuff with Claude, in it.
Yeah.
I think I've got a show with him later on this week, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, I'll chop him up real quick as well. Them shaking their bum for calamari. Yeah, let's put him in their place, to be honest.
Yeah, man. If you know any Chelsea fans, Dej, bring them in. You know.
Yeah, Don is running scared. I think we should get him on because he's a waffler.
Yeah, shout out, man. See if we get Don on the stream, man. I need a gassed up Chelsea man still.
Yeah.
All right,
Need it, man.
man. Love.
Yeah.
You got,
Come
man.
on, you Spurs.
When you Spurs, man.